So we finally made it to the end. These are the top 3 games of all time that I believe are the best games of all time. Yes, that was redundant. So, out of the way, let's start off with number 3. Here we are with Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 shaped my life, just like I did when Ocarina of Time. I would dress up in a red shirt, red hat, blue overalls, jumping around the yard, yelling, "Yeah! Woohoo! Yahoo!" Oh, the simpler times. Moving on from a memory tidbit, Super Mario 64 is the best Mario game ever created. It was the start of something new that Nintendo perfected right from the beginning. This was Mario like we've never seen him before. He was 3D, he was real, he had a whole world to explore. It was mind-blowing! The castle was huge and full of secrets. Every painting brought a new realm to explore, full of crazy characters, innovative design, and pure entertainment. I remember the rush I felt the first time I fought Bowser. The sheer size of him was intimidating. The music did not help one bit. But when I figured out his weakness was his tail, oh, was there ever a feeling of badassery. Swinging Bowser with all my might was exhilarating, and having a mine explode in his face was just an awesome climactic ending to one of the coolest fights I've seen. Super Mario 64 is also very high on my list because it was the first game I ever completed, not just by finishing the story and saving Peach, but by collecting all 120 stars and visiting Yoshi on top of the castle. It kept me coming back for years trying to find every secret nook and cranny the game had to offer, and I welcomed its challenges. Super Mario 64 is a project filled with excitement and passion and will remain as Mario's greatest adventure and one of my favorite games forever. So there's a lot of games on my list that are there for nostalgic reasons. I played them all my life and I've kind of grown attached to them. But the one that's on my list right now, that's at number 2, which may surprise some of you, is probably one of the most mature games that I've played and one of the most entertaining experiences I've had of this generation. I'm here to introduce Mass Effect 2. My first introduction to Mass Effect 2 was when I asked my friend if I could borrow some new games. He gave me Mass Effect 2 and Devil May Cry 4. So I got home eagerly anticipating what games would both be. So I just started off, I'll start off with Devil May Cry 4. Feeling a little disappointed, I decided to take a break from gaming for the day. Cue Saturday. I was home alone, left with Mass Effect 2 to try out. I didn't feel like trying it, but I figured it wasn't mine, so I should probably give it a chance and then give it back if I don't like it or not. This game has the greatest intro to any video game, movie, source of media that I have ever experienced ever in my life. Bioware caught my attention right from the beginning and had me playing the entire weekend. Right at the beginning of the jaw-dropping prologue, Mass Effect 2 had me invested emotionally, physically, mentally. I needed to keep playing. What I thought was going to be an extremely intense third-person shooter turned into an in-depth story-driven RPG third-person shooter hybrid masterpiece that could not be put down. I would find myself just walking around the ship, talking to all my crew members, seeing what they wanted to talk about, and find if they had any problems. Bioware's decision to let you walk around the Normandy and talk to any of your crew members is simple yet brilliant. It gives you the opportunity to get to know your crew and become emotionally invested in the characters Bioware spent so much time creating. And there's even more to this game than the amazing shooter RPG. This was the first time I got to explore the world of Mass Effect. It's massive, it's full of life and history, there are so many layers of creativity that makes Mass Effect such a brilliant masterpiece, such as choices. Mass Effect's story is shaped by the decisions you make throughout the game, and the choices are far from easy. The fate of your crew members rests on the decisions you make, which brings me to my conclusion. At the beginning of the game, you're preparing for a mission that has a high chance for failure, properly dubbed the Suicide Mission. This Suicide Mission is the greatest final chapter to any game of this generation of consoles that I have ever seen. It's dramatic, it's epic, adrenaline pumping, terrifying, and amazing. I cannot think of enough words to describe it. All you have to know is it's a final chapter that I thoroughly enjoy and get goosebumps every time it crosses my mind. And one brilliant trick that Mass Effect also has is the insane amount of replay value. I have played this game over 7 times, and I can say with a straight face that no playthrough has ever been the same. There are always different choices to make, different team members to take with you, and different skills that you can master. The possibilities are endless. Mass Effect is a brilliant, well-thought masterpiece that brings a perfect blend of storytelling, gameplay, and is a must-play trilogy to experience from the start by everyone. It matured me as a gamer and gave me a deeper appreciation for storytelling in video games. It is perfect. So what could be the best game of all time? What could top Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, and most of all, Mass Effect 2? Well, here you go. Here's the top game of all time. It is Super Metroid. Super Metroid is the greatest game of all time. It does everything right. The controls are perfected, the atmosphere is fantastic, it's challenging, and there are secrets to this day that I still haven't discovered. The game starts you off on a space station that recently sent a distress signal. You're sent to investigate and find out what's wrong. The intro to this game is the best designed introduction to any game I've played. Right from the beginning, you learn how to jump, shoot, run, everything you need to know for basic survival. It is the best tutorial because it doesn't feel like a tutorial. There's no text to tell you how to do anything. It leaves you to learn the techniques and experiment with them. As you progress through the space station, you notice the carnage that happened. Dead scientists laying on the ground beside a busted containment chamber. Things aren't looking too good. You carry on with caution. In the depths of the station, you find a contained Metroid sitting in the middle of the room. You walk over to the Metroid and BAM! Ridley appears out of nowhere and attempts to kill you. Terrified as hell, you take the skills that you'd learned and try to fend off the monster. If you last long enough, Ridley will escape, taking the Metroid with him. Phew, all is good. Or is it? BAM! Space station is set to self-destruct, and you got a slim time to make it out back to your ship. Right from the beginning, Super Metroid sets the tone and shows you what it has in store. The intro itself prepares you for an eerie, unexpected adventure that is prepared to kill you if you're not careful. As you land on planet Zebes, you're left with a sense of isolation. No one is there to help you. You're left all alone with the task to find Metroid that Ridley stole. Super Metroid's brilliant map design always hints where you have to go, but the reward is figuring out how to get there. For example, as you traverse through the caves of Criteria, you have access to areas that have blue doors, but you can't seem to get the red ones open. What the heck? How do I get through the next room? You leave it and come back to it later. As you carry on, you stumble into a room that carries missiles. You go back to the room with the red door and can now access the room. This sense of experimentation is what makes Super Metroid an amazing experience. As you make your way through the game, you'll always feel those aha moments and feel like the greatest genius ever. The feeling gets even better the closer you make it to the end. Even after 15 years, I still find a secret to this day that gives me those moments. First time I figured out I could wall jump along a single wall. Insta-kill the Meridia boss with the grapple beam, or access an area using the flying speed dash. All of those moments made me feel like an expert and a master of the game. So I've established that the gameplay and level design are spectacular. What I haven't mentioned yet is the greatest cinematic moment in gaming history. I won't spoil anything for you, but I will say this. The final fight between Samus and Mother Brain is one of the most substantial battles ever. What you'll experience in this fight will stay with you. Super Metroid is a masterpiece. I have no other words to describe it. Everything about it is perfect and is a must-play. You'll feel accomplished, determined, frustrated, excited, terrified, isolated, and most of all, awesome. You'll be left feeling like the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy, and you'll have the scars to prove it. Super Metroid's blend of gameplay, atmosphere, level design, story, and sense of curiosity has me playing multiple playthroughs a year, and I enjoy every single one. Every time I complete the game, I always want to go back, beat my time, collect more items, and experience this masterpiece to the fullest. Super Metroid sets the bar for adventure games and has been one of the largest influences for me to pursue a career in video games. It is the greatest game of all time and will be for many years to come. So, that's the end of the list. I hope you enjoyed reading it as much as I did creating it, and I hope you guys have some new games to try out. These games gave me a substantial respect for all video games, and they're my best choices of all time, as you can tell. Alright, so, thanks for your time. So long.